Nigeria in that crisis to becoming a leader.
As Nigerians prepare for the March 11 governorship and state houses of assembly elections, INEC has assured Nigerians that the elections will hold as scheduled, as the processes and procedures leading to the elections are being finalized. The electoral umpire also assured Nigerians that glitches experienced in the upload of polling units results at the presidential and National Assembly elections will not repeat itself, and staff engaged in unprofessional conduct will not participate in subsequent elections. Achieving a seamless exercise will be our focus on Panorama from Port Harcourt Network Center. I am Jenny Bassi. Welcome. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has charged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to improve on its performance in the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections and address the shortcomings and complaints raised by political parties and their candidates in future elections. This was part of resolutions reached after the Council General Meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Election is the beauty of democracy and must be free, fair, credible, transparent, acceptable, inclusive and peaceful. IPAC is leveraging the saying to commend Nigerians for embracing peace after the presidential election and enjoined aggrieved political parties and their candidates to approach the court for redress.
We have increased our engagement with INEC, so that we will be able to get it right, and ensure that those innovations that INEC has brought to bear in terms of the processes and how election itself is going to be conducted before, during, after elections, so that people can now have more confidence in what INEC is doing.
The lapses noted in the February 25, 2023 presidential and National Assembly election should be lessons for the March 11 governorship and state assembly election for INEC.
Democracy is a very serious business. It's not something that we treat with levity.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy, in its third preliminary report of the presidential and National Assembly election, noted that the surge and enthusiasm shown by Nigerians in deciding who will lead them is worthy of commendation. Although some parties are aggrieved following the outcome of the exercise, the center appealed for restraints.
Violence of any mode should not be encouraged. We can only have one country that belongs to all of us. The CTA calls on INEC to walk through its talk.
The Election Observer Group urged INEC to up its game towards meeting the expectations of Nigerians in the March 11, 2023 governorship and state assembly election. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth Leonard, has issued a statement of encouragement and recommendation to Nigerians on the conduct of the February 25 elections, in which Bola Tinubu emerged winner of the presidential elections. In the statement, Leonard says the people of Nigeria demonstrated their dedication to democracy on February 25. But there are many angry and frustrated Nigerians, as well as many who are celebrating victories they believe were hard-fought and well-earned. In the coming days, it will be important for the future of this country that Nigerians not let their differences divide them, and that the legally established process for resolving challenges to the election will be allowed to take its course. We commend Mr. Bebekyopardon and Mr. Abubakar for their recent statements committing to take their path, and Mr. Tinubu, who INEC declared the president-elect under Nigeria's electoral framework, for acknowledging their right to do so. We thus reiterate our call on INEC to address promptly the challenges that can be resolved ahead of the March 11 governorship election. Glitches experienced in the upload of polling units at the presidential and National Assembly elections will not repeat itself in the March 11 polls, and staff engaged in unprofessional conduct will not participate in subsequent elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu stated this at a meeting with resident electoral commissioners in Abuja.
It is 1 week after the presidential and National Assembly elections. INEC Chairman meeting resident electoral commissioners for post-mortem. Professor Mahmood Yakubu visibly not happy with some challenges encountered during the exercise, particularly in the upload of polling unit results.
Since last week, the Commission has intensified the review of the technology to ensure that glitches experienced, particularly with the upload of results, are rectified. We are confident that going forward, the system will run optimally. All staff found to be negligent, whether they are regular or ad hoc officials, including collation and returning officers, must not be involved in the forthcoming elections. RECs must also immediately initiate disciplinary action where prima facie evidence of wrongdoing has been established against any staff involved in the election, whether regular or ad hoc.
Despite these challenges, 7 political parties won 98 senatorial seats, while 8 political parties won 325 House of Representatives seats. APC coming top, then PDP, LP, NNPP, SDP, YPP, and EDC.
While supplementary elections will be held in 46 constituencies.
March 11, 2023 is another day of contest for 28 governorship seats and 993 state houses of assembly slots.
The bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS, will once again be deployed for voter accreditation and result management.
After this contest, attention will be shifted to Kogi and Bayelsa states governorship elections slated for November this year. Mie Ogedi, NTA News.
It's few days to the March 11 governorship and state houses of assembly elections, and Nigerians in Uyo are upbeat ahead of the polls. The respondents who spoke with Clement Barikwi says the hiccups of the last presidential and National Assembly elections will not deter them from exercising their franchise.
By Saturday next week, Nigerians will go to the poll to elect their governors and state houses of assembly members. Like the presidential and National Assembly elections, March 11 poll will again witness high turnout of voters going by their level of readiness. These Nigerians are no longer going to sit on the fence.
If there is money for me to transport myself to my polling unit, I think I will have to vote.
Coming election, I have to really participate because my vote matters.
You still need to go and exercise your rights by making sure you vote to someone who is going to be your governor. Then, because I believe there's a room for somebody or any political parties, if you are not satisfied with the outcome of the election, you go to court and let the court decide. That doesn't stop us from voting.
From late arrival of election materials to the inability of the electoral umpire to transmit results from the polling unit as promised, the presidential elections had some challenges, and this could be why some Nigerians are feeling reluctant to participate in next week's election, just like these respondents.
I won't risk myself again going out to vote.
The die is cast. The political actors are in last-minute campaigns, and the electorate will have the final say on March 11. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And stakeholders in Rivers State have sued for peace in the state, particularly as the March 11 governorship and state houses of assembly elections draw closer. They urged the electoral umpire to ensure some of the challenges experienced at the presidential election are addressed. Gabriel Aminike reports.
The February presidential election has come and gone. Some Nigerians commend the electoral umpire for the outcome of the elections. Others are calling on politicians to caution their supporters to eschew violence.
For me, my take about the election, I see the election is really fair because it's opened. You can see the example in Lagos State, you understand? And APC take it in a very good faith, the Labour Party won them, and they didn't fight about it.
Vote counted. It depends on your perspective of counting, whether it was negatively counted or positively counted. You can see people who've never voted all their lives, they voted.
The beaver just came into existence. Most of their house staff are not well educated on how to use the beavers. So where the problem is, after the election, how to send the result to the server was actually their challenge.
Afraid there will be low voters turnout.
I think the election was relatively peaceful. Okay. Like in my area, there were no pockets of violence at all. People came out, they voted, they stayed for the results to be collated and counted. And so far so good. People were happy.
However, as political parties prepare for the Saturday 11th March polls for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections, they, however, call on the electoral umpire and security personnel to brace up and correct the perceived wrongs experienced during the presidential election. As Port Harcourt residents continue to appraise the conduct of the presidential and national assembly polls, stakeholders are suing for maturity in their reactions as they look forward to the independent National Electoral Commission to addressing some of the issues raised. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amnike, NTA News.
And to discuss on these and other issues, in the studio right here is a public affairs analyst and also a lecturer with the Captain Elechi Amadi Polytechnic here in Port Harcourt, Dr. Emma Weke. It is my pleasure to have you on Panorama this morning.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Thank you. The February 25 election had come and gone, of course, not without challenges. Now, what do you want INEC to do differently in the March 11 elections?
Well, INEC, in the first place, let's establish that in the election, there were stakeholders. Basically, we had the voters who are the electorate, we had the contestants, and then INEC, who is the regulator. The other stakeholders have done well. We've not had issues for citizens not doing the right thing or contestants, cajoling their supporters into violence. Where we have had a complaint has been in the part of the regulator, and we expect that. And most of these complaints are not discretional to citizens. They are only citing INEC in its own words of electoral guidelines. They are saying follow the guidelines you stated for the contestants. So just follow it. I don't think that will be too much. So we expand. Then apart from the contestant asking for that, you know that Nigerians also spend so much money making sure that what INEC proposed to them is carried out. It can go over 300 billion. So we expect that INEC should not have given the excuse of not do well in that aspect. It is not proper for them to allow themselves to be ridiculed by not doing what they're expected. counting on the background that the president has said that he wants a credible, fair, and transparent election. So they are supposed to bring a worthy result back to the president. So right now, it is given on INEC to do the right thing. Okay. There shouldn't be any reason to say that their platforms are not working. No. The issues of code switches, code issues should not arise because it's an IT-driven century, it's an IT-driven period. There could be a center where even the INEC officials in each of the polling units could be monitored. So you don't need to say we need to give you a code. Before that day, even before you roll them out to duty, there should be a username and password to all the persons that should be responsible for the BVAS machines. So as you log in from the IT center, you should know for state by state who is logging in. And then if one is found wanted, you log out that person, and then the admin retrieves the BVAS machine. So a situation where INEC is, and then he's saying they have glitches, and they didn't come up immediately to set citizens what kind of glitches that was and how soon it was going to be resolved. No. And if you say you have glitches, you should also have a backup, what we call raw data. Assuming, I'm just saying on my own, INEC has not come up to say that their portal was hijacked or so. No, even if it was, there should also be a raw data that they will as well release to the citizens, publish to the citizens. So,
okay. Yeah. Now, given the glitches on the part of INEC, an election is coming up less than 1 week from today. Now, do you think people who, of course, some are disappointed, will go out again to vote?
Yes, it is not a matter of disappointed or not disappointed. It's a process that involves all Nigerians. Like I've established, we have the people who are the electorates, then we have the contestant, and we have the regulator. So you don't have to renege on your own part as a citizen. So you're expected to go and exercise your duty. Vote who you want should vote you. Then the contestants should also behave themselves. We expect that the last persons, the last contestants have done well. They've not asked their supporters to take to the street. They have said, keep calm, we are going to record. So we expect that in the coming days, those citizens who voted in the last election should also come out to vote. And if there is any issues too, citizens will not be blamed. They will not find an avenue to begin to blame them to say that you did not come out to vote after all. So they will have to tell them, we have come to vote, please give us the count and let it be transparent. So they should not allow blame on their part. Then the same thing goes to those contestants. I'm not going to contest again. Let us see the conclusion of this whole matter.
Okay. Now let's go to our security now. You see, the last election, you saw loads of our security personnel in almost all the units and wards. Now, do you expect to see same in this coming election?
What I always said is that Nigerian institutions should not allow themselves to be overpowered by powerful individuals. The security institutions should remain neutral. They should abide by the rules guiding the elections. There shouldn't be any reason why. The only time they have to act is when people begin to go against the electoral guideline. So people leave what they're supposed to do. Okay. The security men may not come in. And in the incident that they are overpowered, they call for reinforcement. So we expect that they should be neutral and ensure that the right thing is done in the polling units.
Okay. I said the election is less than a week from now. What is your advice to politicians and especially their supporters?
The politicians should play according to the rule. The supporters should abide by the rules. You cannot ask people to go into violence while you are not participating in that violence. Nigerians should be wise and vote their conscience. They should not be cajoled. They should not allow Nigerian politicians to lure them into crisis. Because if we allow ourselves into crisis, most of these politicians will not be victims. So let's do the right thing and then have a very good election.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emma Weke. Dr. Emma Weke is a public affairs analyst and also a lecturer in Polytechnic, Elechi Amadi Polytechnic. We'll now pause for a break. Panorama continues shortly. Is everybody's business and no stakeholder can do it alone, but by coming together with shared vision and a purpose to addressing maritime security challenges confronting the nation. These were the words of the Commandant, Naval War College, Nigeria, after a sea trip on the Calabar River embarked upon by Naval War College, Nigeria, caused 7 participants and maritime stakeholders in Cross River State. Paul Abel reports.
Putting into practice the knowledge acquired is another, and this is why naval warfare caused 7 participants and maritime stakeholders are boarding NNS Oji on a sea trip to have a first-hand picture of illegal bunkering activities, smuggling of contraband goods, trafficking in persons on sea and how they are intercepted, seized and handed over to appropriate government agencies for prosecution using the harmonized standard operating procedure document. The sea trip with other stakeholders took participants far into Calabar River and the verge of the Atlantic Ocean as they comment on the experience.
Bringing them together is a worthwhile development that can even promote economic activity.
They should continue this process so that this problem of security breaches.
The only thing that we need to do is to drive into the fox and make it work.
On land, warfare caused 7 participants through a simulation exercise in various groups. We are given the opportunity to present their engagement on sea and handing over of these goods with a media briefing to appropriate government authorities.
These items will be handed over to Nigerian Customs Service for investigations and further actions.
The Commandant, Naval War College, Nigeria, summarizes the entire exercise.
We believe that when the maritime stakeholders and the Nigerian Navy, when we synergize, there is common understanding and there is burden sharing.
Back from the sea, it was a jolly voyage to the shore.
All the stakeholders have agreed that if this synergy is sustained, it will go a long way to protect the maritime environment and boost the economy of the state and the nation. From the Calabar River is Paul Abel, NTA News.
Known for its rich protein dietary content and relative affordability, fish is one of the most widely consumed foods in the world, possessing a consumption rate that keeps soaring. But due to challenges confronting the aquaculture industry, fish farmers are currently facing threats that may force them to go out of business. Chidebere Onya in this report explores the viability and challenges of fish farming business in Rivers State.
Fish farming is undoubtedly one of the fastest growing agricultural enterprises in Nigeria. In Rivers State, the business provides revenue and employment for its residents. More so, because of the high nutritional value of fish, it is a most sought after food by majority of the people.
It has the type of fat that we call the good fat, the omega H3 and H6 fatty acids. Now, these are the type of fat that has very low cholesterol. They are very good for the heart and for the human body.
Despite the potential of fish farming in the states, some fish farmers outline the major constraints of the business to include lack of finance, high cost of fish feed, poor access to credit facilities, and problems associated with farm labor.
I don't have enough money to buy feed. At times, the thing will disturb my fish. Because when they eat well, they will big. But when you don't have enough money to feed them, you will not be able to get anything out of it.
We have challenges, many challenges. You can buy today, tomorrow, to get customer to clear it. It's a big problem.
The challenges we normally have is their lifestyle. They fight each other, they kill each other. That is the challenges we have. And you make sure you change your water. If you don't change your water, you get mortalities.
90% of what we use in producing fish feed, mostly even agricultural feed, they are being imported. I'm referring to soya, maize, and many fish meal additives. So they are being imported because most of it are not being produced locally, and everything we do is being traced to the foreign exchange.
An analysts maintained that if properly harnessed, fish farming business has the potential to flourish and meet up with the large deficits between fish production and consumption in Nigeria. In Port Harcourt, Chidiebere Onya, NTA News.
Up next is sports update with Oshe Mbede.